Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 7th of November. This is for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you an overview of what we can all expect collectively, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in forensic detail each of the signs from Aries through to Pisces and the key influences for each of those. Now, this week sees on Tuesday a total lunar eclipse, an event which is going to provide an influence for the next 6 months. Now, the sign of Taurus where this occurs is actually where the moon is rather happy. It's exalted in the sign of Taurus, so it's its second favourite location after being domiciled in the sign of Cancer, but it's very close to the planet of disruption, Uranus. And if you recall, over the last couple of years, Uranus and the planet of restriction, Saturn, in the sign of the collective, Aquarius, have off and on been grating in an attritional and stressful right angle called a square. Now that threads its way through this event. Now, we also have close to the Moon and Uranus, the North Node, a very significant point in terms of our collective destiny. But on the other side of the heavens, we have the Sun, Mercury and Venus all in Scorpio. The significance of the cluster in Taurus, the cluster in Scorpio and the position of Saturn is they're all in fixed signs. Fixed signs prefer continuity. They're happier with knowing how things are, maintaining a degree of stability. So Uranus is pushing us to be more outspoken about our rights in terms of our self-worth. So we're seeing a lot of protest and dissent, but also we're seeing the cost of living crisis, and a lot of that is because the second house of Taurus governs food and food distribution. Now obviously we also have the sign of Taurus being an earth sign, very much about the environment and the cost of utilities to heat our homes, to cook with, to light our homes as well. All these are hot topics. So the way people are relating to the right angle between Uranus and Saturn, and have been over the last couple of years, whether it's big government, big business, individuals, collective associations, such as citizens, finding an outlet through social media, or perhaps union output, is that everybody has a different take on how they want changes to occur. And it's obvious that some kind of reset is occurring, and we need to try to adapt to deal with this, and it's really not easy. Now, concurrent to this, the two rulers of the sign of Scorpio are in conflict, Mars and Pluto. So Pluto's in the part of the horoscope that's to do with wanting to maintain the old world order, so big government, big business. But Mars is in the part of the zodiac which is to do with how we think and articulate our ideas, but it's now in retrograde. But they're not on good terms. So this adds to the strident mix that's bubbling up. Also, Mars is in a right angle to Neptune, the planet of dreams and the ephemeral world. And this is creating a lot of illusions, a lot of dishonesty, quite honestly. And we're finding that more and more stories about corruption and dishonesty, particularly around money and people looking out for their friends when they have influence, or we're also seeing sexual impropriety. A lot of stories are coming to the open. So all of this is going to be quite a feature over the next 6 months. But please stay with me as I decipher all of this for each of your 12 zodiac signs. But if you would like to understand what year 2023 will hold for you as an individual based on Sirius astrology, and rise above your zodiac forecast, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can produce your forecast for next year. And in my special package, you get the rest of this year free, and also your life roadmap, your character analysis, which helps you to understand some of the patterns that have repeated themselves, perhaps more difficult energies, but also help you to have greater understanding of your opportunities. And there's 30% off. Please see the link below. Finally, if you're new to my channel, thank you so much for joining me. I'd love it if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. If you're an ongoing viewer, thank you so much for all your support. So Leo, your week commencing the 7th of November forecast is likely, with the total lunar eclipse, to see your emotions quite close to the surface. But you're somebody who needs to retain a degree of poise. It's not to say that you won't have things going on, we all do, but you don't necessarily like it if you feel other people are aware of your vulnerability. Do you know, with the gathering of Mercury, the Sun and Venus in your 4th house, this can be a great time to reconfigure where you're living, whether it's decluttering, redecoration, new furnishings, or actually moving altogether. Some Leo people could be thinking very actively of a home-based business which embraces your creativity and flair. The total lunar eclipse sees the moon right high in your 10th house. So Uranus here is going to bring some home truths, I feel, around your professional situation or how you work. And over the next 6 months, maybe the changes that we're all being asked to deal with, you know, in terms of the world is just moving at such a great pace. Those can be unsettling for that part of you that likes to have a degree of security, but at the same time likes to keep how you feel about things relatively private. Now, of course, Saturn, which is dissecting the eclipse, is in your sector of relating. If you've got good relationships around you, you know, solid citizen friendships or family or a partner, I think that this event is going to be much less noticeable. If you're somebody who doesn't have that kind of extended support, it could be more challenging. Essentially, work-life balance, which used to be, you know, a little bit of a phrase that was used a lot, that's really what this particular eclipse is about. If you feel quite comfortable and settled in your home life, but your work situation isn't quite working for you, I think this eclipse is saying to you that you are probably going to have to go beyond your comfort zone and do something that's a bit different, and that may feel quite a challenge. And you may have to relate and meet people that aren't necessarily your cup of tea, won't necessarily defer to you in the way that you can like. Now, with Mars in its retrograde in your 11th house, that can affect your future plans, but also friendships. So if you've got associations around you that don't quite get some of the dilemmas that are going on for you at the present time, or feel that your situation perhaps is better than you see it as being, that could actually be quite frustrating and annoying. So I think at the present time, with the Venus position in your 4th house, making you very desirous of some nurture and some support and kindness around the very core of your existence, with Saturn in a right angle to that and the Sun, it could be where you feel that lack of emotional support is showing itself, and then it gets much more difficult to disguise how you feel, which could make you feel more vulnerable. But it could be around your work and professional situation that the driver for the sense of restlessness is really coming from.